Hello, James here. I'm going to make here have you watch a video of this woman, and it's talk about something that is a really delicate topic about how this white woman was exposed of saying how she felt about black people, and then it it tells you're gonna hear some stories, and then I'm gonna give you a testimony right after the video.
Something about her excellence didn't sit right with me. I just didn't feel good about it. Hi people, welcome back again on the channel. How are you guys doing? I hope you all are doing very fine. I'm so glad and happy to have you guys here with me. And I have another video that we have to check out today. This video is a very serious one, and I would like you to stick around till the end because it's full and packed of so many things that I want you guys to hear. So this is a video of a white woman actually exposing how she worked with an Indian woman and as well worked with a black woman. So the black woman was succeeding, but something about her success just does not sit right or well with this white woman. I would like you guys to hear from the horse's mouth, so let me roll the clip. I have a theory about why black women and white women are having such a hard time getting along, and it starts with a story. When I first started teaching, I was in a teacher training program with 3 other women. 2 of them were black and 1 of them was Indian, and we started teaching at the same school, the same grade, at the same time. One of these women, a black woman, completely excelled. She did so much better than I did at literally everything. Classroom management, her test scores were high. She was excellent at literally everything. And something about her excellence didn't sit right with me. I just didn't feel good about it, and I couldn't figure out why I didn't feel good about it. It was internalized racism, but I didn't know that yet. So I had to sit with this idea of her being better than me and trying to figure out why it didn't feel good and feel comfortable for me. And of course at the time I didn't know that I needed to do the work of anti-racism, so I didn't think it was possibly because I could have internalized racism. I had to do a lot of study and thought about myself and what could possibly be making me feel this way about this woman. And here's what I discovered. Most of the media that I had consumed up to that point in my life had white people as the central characters. And the shows and other media that I consumed that had white women at the central characters often had black women as the side characters. These black women's role in these movies was to assist the white women, support the white women, advise the white women, but never to rise above the white women. Even shows that were about black women, like The Help, had white women as the central character and the black women as supporting characters. So I internalized the idea that black women were there to support me and to advise me, but not to rise above or become better than me. And that's why when this black teacher was way better and more talented than me, I felt some kind of way about it. Now, I'd imagine lots and lots more white women have also internalized the same idea, and that's why they feel okay stealing black women's content and not giving them any credit, because the black women are just there to advise them anyway. But most black women are natural leaders. Society has forced them to become leaders, and so we need to step aside and let them lead, even if it means checking our privilege and letting them lead us. That was the video she shared, guys, and I would really like to hear what you guys think about what she said. Let's not forget that this is not the very first time that even black people are coming online here to talk about their experience with white people at work. This led to so many stitches, and I was able to gather a few ones that I want you guys to listen to, because these are some people actually talking from their own side and from their own experience as well. So let me roll the clip. When this black teacher was way better and more talented than me, I felt some kind of...
Black women, please be careful, because the moment you elevate is the exact moment that they will try to bring you right back down to where they think you belong. And I've got a story time because it happened to me and it still pisses me off till this day. So I used to run a toddler group in South London, and it was going really well. I wrote a lot of the songs myself, and it was in areas like Clapham, Wimbledon, So you know the type of mums that were coming to the class. And yeah, it was going so well. And then suddenly I got an email from this lady saying, hi, I also run a toddler group at the same time as yours in the same kind of area. Can you change your classes? Well, no, because my classes are going really well. Why would I do that? And I wrote back in the email like, of course, no, I can't do that at the moment, but there's no need to feel threatened. There's plenty of mums and babies to go around in Clapham. Suddenly, I got a 1-star Google review on my business page. A day later, I got another 1-star review. And it was really stupid because they were writing 5-star reviews on her business page. So I was like, well, you're making it obvious that it's coming from you here. Anyway, I got my lawyer friend involved, and she stopped writing the letters, obviously, because she definitely felt threatened with my lawyer. And COVID happened and my business kind of changed anyway. But there were other toddler groups happening in that area at the same time. However, I was the only black toddler group happening in that area at the same time. So I thought to myself, if I was a white woman, she would not be messaging me and she would not be telling me to move my classes to another day. But the moment that they start to realize, you start stepping on their spaces, they will try to bring you right back down to where they think you belong. And I'm telling you now, be very careful out there, because they will do it in the most spiteful way.
I'm gonna tell you what that is. What I showed you with my phone, that's what it is, white fragility. That's exactly what it is. This is exactly what this is. See this playing. This is on CNN. Hopefully it play it through. Yeah, I'm gonna get back to the video, but just wanna see if this see what it play. Come on. Yeah, when I first heard this term, it was like, wow, man, some people really are insecure about competing. You know, just competing in business, at the job place, and things like that. It's like, and you hear countless of stories of people going through something like this. Hold on. I know what's wrong with my phone acting up at night. Tablet acting up. I'm gonna try to go back to the video. I was trying to show the video. Damn it.
Donate your car at voaautodonation.org.
Something must be going on with my Wi-Fi tonight. I got Wi-Fi. It's crazy. Come on. Signal's trying to. Oh boy. Come on. Stop buffering.
Particular moment of racial unrest and visibility, heightened visibility of racial injustice. The question of what can I do is on white people's minds. And I'm going to offer you 5 tasks to do in response to that question. The first one is to remove from your vocabulary the following claim: I'm not racist. The second task is to spend the rest of your life grappling with the question of what it means to be white. How has your race shaped every aspect of your life from the moment that you took your first breath? The third task is to take out a piece of paper and write down your answers to the following question: how have I managed to be a full, functioning, professional adult and not know what to do about racism? Google Dr. Eddie Moore's 21-day challenge. It's active and participatory, and it will set you forward on a continual and lifelong path of active engagement. And number 5, you can never understand what you need to understand about racism if you only listen to white people or engage with their work. Read everything you can by people of color, listen to people of color, watch their videos, turn your attention also to hearing what people of color and black people have been telling us for centuries.
That's the solution. Oh.
Refreshing to listen to. Not have TikTok. Take some time to listen to all of it. So there she was exposing how when she walked with a black woman and an Indian, the black woman excelled in everything, but something about it didn't sit right with her because she had been programmed to see the black woman beneath her. Now here's my own personal experience in corporate America. I've interviewed with people who was more qualified than they were interviewing me to come in as a junior. I could perceive that they felt threatened. Not once, not twice, not 3 times. White people. I've also worked in places where, because I'm African and dark skinned, whenever I said something, as a coach that I was, whenever I suggested a way forward, manager, one was Egyptian, white. You push it under the rug. You openly reprimand me and tell me not to make changes. Somebody else, who was not a coach, who I was coaching, suggest the same thing to people, white people, and then he would take their suggestions. It happened over time, and it felt like gaslighting. It became so uncomfortable that I went to the HR. Of course, HR was white, and nothing was done about it. So, this is something that needs to be talked about, especially when people are talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion. There's a bias that is in there somewhere that when you realize you have that bias, like she has done, you go and work on yourself. Many people don't. Now, don't get me wrong. I've also worked in a team where 2 people were very aggressive, a man and a woman, white woman, a white woman and a white woman, and they would be so loud when they're discussing. And when I did the same thing, the white guy would say, "I don't want to talk about this. I'm done." The white woman would do the same thing. When it's between them, it was okay. Yes, there was a white guy who on my team told me, "Hey, I appreciate what you're doing. Sometimes I don't know why they do this. And as a white male, I know I don't have to do anything to move forward. I appreciate what you're doing." He took some time out to acknowledge that. So for those people who are excelling, who have been invited to the table, who are dark skinned, and they think these things don't exist, please they do. She's told her story. Please listen to it. Let's walk as well.
I have a theory about why black women and white women are having such a hard time getting.
I have something to say about this. My grandmother was raised in Jackson, Mississippi, during a time when racism was everywhere. And both of her parents were highly
Whoa, that's powerful. What she said. That's powerful.
Educators are facing questions about critical race theory. But what is it and why is it under attack? Critical race theory is an academic and legal concept that's been around for 4 decades. The core idea is that racism isn't just about individual prejudice or bias, it's woven into public policies and laws, even those that seem to be race blind. Single-family zoning, for example, makes it harder to build affordable housing and further desegregation efforts. In K-12 education, people have applied these concepts to patterns of student discipline and tracking systems. Because racism is part of this context of everyday life, people, white or non, white or non-white, who don't intend to be racist can nevertheless make choices that fuel racism, the theory says. It's important to note that critical race theory isn't a program or a training or a curriculum. It's a way of thinking about the world. Still, it's controversial because critics, largely though not exclusively conservatives, allege that this way of thinking fuels division or pits people of color against white people. Lawmakers in more than a dozen states have already passed or are debating legislation to ban the use of critical race theory or divisive topics in the classroom. Sometimes critical race theory is conflated with anti-racism and social justice, which are more common terms and concepts used and taught in schools. This might mean that parents or school board members could use the term critical race theory to challenge curriculum and lessons. Proposals to ban critical race theory could have a chilling effect on what teachers teach about certain topics. They might worry that teaching the full history of the removal of indigenous peoples, or the Civil War, or the Tulsa race massacre will land them in trouble with parents or administrators. While some district officials have issued mission statements or resolutions, or they've spoken about changes in their policies using some of the discourse of critical race theory, it's actually not clear to what extent educators are explicitly teaching these concepts or even using curriculum materials or other methods that implicitly draw on them. This is a really complex topic, so we encourage you to look at Education Week's resources at edweek.org/race to learn more.
Now we have seen a couple of videos, including a YouTube video, and not only black people but white people really expressing, being truthful, honest. What did it come? And what I've learned from it was there's some jealousy, animosity, and part of the critical race theory is, even though that it can be wiped out, but it seemed like with the mindset of the early America, when you see slave movies about black people being subjugated in these low standard conditions, and they show slave movies, I believe that it's a constant reminder with some that, like, wow, these people really don't have no education. They lack in areas of maturity in their brain, and the white supremacists will teach this in the school system. The idea of white supremacy taught this in health. The white supremacy put this in housing. The white supremacy, and so far, one of the groups of people, although the Native Americans been through their trials, the Latino population been through their trial, and there's been poor white that been through their trials. But the most hated people in America is black. They have been trying to destroy mentally, physically, psychologically black people for centuries, to the point that even in death, they were tortured to death. And this goes back in history, but the violence you see, even if it's among black on black, is the violence that this land has produced. Racism is a spirit in this land. Racism has jumped from generation after generation. Racism has put a wedge of jealousy and say that if we let these people rise, they're gonna do what we're gonna do. They're gonna come up like the way we do. So we got to figure out a way, because what we saw, we got to keep them in the organ conditions like they've done in different parts of the world. That's what racism does. And even though that the brown people do it, you might have some things like right now, the Asians going through their thing. You got other people, and racism is racism. I mean, from any perspective. But when you sit down and think about it, to a magnitude of a population from all throughout the United States, in every city, no matter from the West Coast to the East Coast, North, South, in the United States, America lynched black people at mass numbers than any other race, nationality in this country. And it continued. Other people were massacred, but they was never to the magnitude of black people. Not only that, black people they had black towns. They would build up the town, because the reason why they had black towns, because they didn't want what they called it, the Negro, blending in with them. But when the Negroes, and they called at the time, come together and they start prospering, they all of a sudden they've had to figure out a way to, why is these Negroes coming up so fast? Why? And this is the same thing. They technically doing it from there to now. There was a video. Every time when black people have decided to come together and try to build up in America like other groups of people, they find a way to sabotage black people financially. They try to find a way to discourage it. They don't want to see another Black Wall Street, and they have done everything that they could. If they can subjugate you out of education, subjugate you out of your housing, with mortgage and lending, subjugate to the point that even when your credit is due, even when you pay your bills on time, even when you pay your taxes on time, this government has done egregious thing where it should be anybody. But what is it about black people? And I asked myself, I've seen other people go through their trials, but you guys said, what is it about black people that have been fighting, been here? You have seen movies, black regiments, and they have been fighting in wars, and black people in different parts of the government since the beginning of time. What is it about black people? But every time that they don't want the certain percentage of them rising to above. Jealousy and envious. And then when black people, a certain portion of them said, I think it's us the time to segregate. Then they'll throw a clause in that and say, wait a minute, you're discriminating. Why you want to separate? Why do you want to look at what you've done? Look at what you've done. Let's say to those people, look at what you've done. If you move left, what you doing over there? If you move right, what you doing over here? It's like, it's like we got to be over them like they like our children. And they don't think that black people don't see that. Like, it's crazy. But I just wanted to make a video, but it really, and it's to the point that I saw a video recently. This really shocked me. And it's one thing that this one brother, and I didn't know that there are black people that suffer this. That that it affects their sleep. Like this, that, and I was like, what? I said, black people sleep different than white people, and I was like, whoa, this is something deep. But you can't even have rest as a black person in this country. Like, and then they try to say no, and it was some doctors that showed. Here's his brother. His name's Runaway Slave. That's how bad, as black people, we have such that it affects our health, and mental, and our sleep.
Assalamu alaikum. Okay, so what I had to do for this channel is create an email list. The reason why is because due to the nature of the content of this channel, I don't know when the content is going to just mysteriously disappear or this channel will be shut down. The email list is just for the followers or the subs so that you know where these things are just in case this mysteriously happens. So just go down to the link in the description of the video, click join email list, put your email address in there, and boom, you're good to go. That means that I can also send you other information that I cannot post here on YouTube, and you'll also know where the channel is and where the content is in the event that it does disappear. Okay, let's cook. Okay. So I read an article titled "Racism Leads to Troubled Sleep," and it's putting Black Americans' heart health at risk. This article was on statnews.com, and it was written by somebody by the name of Catherine Harmon Courage. Now, I do like the way this was put together. It also rung a bell in my head from some experience that I've had in the past. But it rung a bell in my head. And also, I like the way it was written by Catherine Harmon Courage because she actually went to professionals who are in the medical field or are professionals from the culture to understand this right here and to get feedback from people who actually knew how to use their brains. Okay? So, I used to work with this dude, right, one time. It was a black guy I used to work with, African-American guy. And I worked with him for like a year, right? And sometimes he would say like, man, I didn't get good sleep last night, or I didn't sleep right last night. And then sometimes I would reply, man, I slept like a white person. And he would say, hey, man, what you mean? What you mean by that? What you mean you slept like a white person? I would just laugh it off, and I would say, man, I slept like a white person. And you know, a lot of times people say I slept like a baby, but no, I slept like a white person. But anyway, he probably thought I was crazy, and I never really got into explaining to him what I meant by this because I knew he was the type of person that wouldn't understand. In order for him to understand, it would take a whole, it would take months just to, scratch the surface to learn the history and start talking about the religion of white supremacy. So it wasn't his time to understand, and I didn't feel as though I had time to even. I just would say that to him, and I would just, nix him off or whatever. We just keep it moving. He probably thought I was just being crazy. But basically, now, when I say I slept like a white person, it basically means I slept well. I slept sound for at least 7 hours. It means my mind actually went to sleep. I got what they call REM sleep, which means your mind goes to sleep and you're actually in a deep sleep. But one thing that a lot of people don't know, a lot of our people don't know or understand is that there are actually racial disparities in sleep. Meaning, yes, white people overall sleep better than black people. They sleep better than black people because their minds are at ease and they can sleep, okay? Now, there was a study, and this study showed, and I'm reading something from the study now, those were my words, I'm reading something from the study. It says, on average, black adults in the U.S. get poorer sleep than white adults, often for reasons outside of their control. A growing number of experts argue that in order to address such racial disparities, health professionals need to start discussing sleep within the complex tapestry of a person's life and surroundings. Okay, what this means, I'm not reading anymore. What this means is that when these scientists do these studies, right, they have to start to look into the totality of circumstances in a person's life and lifestyle as compared to just the focus of the study. And we know that that the totality of circumstances in a black person's life is totally different than that of a white person. That's just the way it is. Okay? So, one professional who added, a lot of information to this article is a sister by the name of Mercedes Carnathon. She's the vice chair of preventative medicine at Northwestern University's Feinberg School of Medicine, and she's also an expert on racial disparities in cardiovascular disease, okay? And she said that she says that a large proportion of the disparities in sleep are really due to social and environmental factors, such as noise pollution. So basically, what she's saying is the eye covers and the earplugs and things like that aren't just going to go away for people who are dealing with social and environmental factors that they can't do anything about, okay? One of them being noise pollution, okay? So let's say the doctor says, well, you need to get more sleep. And this is a typical response to, sleep problems that white people deal with, not us. It's like, okay, you need to get more sleep, get more sleep. You can't just say that to a black person without understanding anything about them, or what's on their mind or what they go through. Now, these medical professionals, right, they give black people generalized information that's typically for white folks. The medical industry they haven't even evolved yet into considering us, people who can produce melanin. They haven't even considered that in their practices and studies, which would bring about solutions for black people. So basically they'll just say things like, well, heart disease, diabetes, breast cancer, high blood pressure, it runs in your family, and that's it. They'll never give you a reason why, a solution, or a cure. There are some who will say, hey, you got to improve your diet, but for the most part, it's just like, hey, this is it. Go ahead, keep it moving. That's like when you hear these white doctors give symptoms for certain ailments, and they always say something that's like dumb to us. They'll say something like, well, one symptom is having blue skin, and you're looking like, blue, pale skin? How am I have blue skin, yo? You know what I'm saying? That's not for us. That's just an example of one of the ways that they don't even consider us or factor us in these studies and preventative measures when it comes to medicine and health and disease and things like that and symptoms. We're not even considered. Anytime somebody can sit down and say, hey, if the scale is, grayish or blue, you're like, okay, that's for white people. What about me? You know what I mean? So, you notice they'll never have things set aside for us, and this is called white supremacy. But anyway, back to these sleep disparities, right? These professionals who they spoke to in reference to this, they are providing information that will explain the racial disparities in sleep. Now, the reason why this is so important, and this reason why sleep is so important, is because just like diet, sleep deprivation is the root cause of many preventable diseases, okay? So, the medical world for many decades has known that poor sleep increases the risk for heart disease and other diseases, okay? If more people got more sleep, 7 to 9 hours a night like they would, they said that people would not have heart disease as much, just from if they slept. That's one factor, So, the most frequent cause of heart disease, they say, is lack of sleep. And if people slept, the rates for heart disease would drop, okay? So, earlier this year, they said that the American Heart Association even went as far as saying that getting a good night's sleep is one of the major center recommendations for improving cardiovascular health, which is real, okay? So, they spoke to one person by the name of Lauren Hale, and she's a professor of preventative medicine and expert on sleep behavior at Stony Brook Medicine, okay? And she said that consistently, better sleep for all in turn could help narrow the existing racial, ethnic, and socioeconomic disparities in cardiometabolic diseases. This is what she said. She's a professional, okay? She says about 229 of every 100,000 black Americans died from heart disease in 2020 compared to 170 deaths per 100,000 white Americans. Some researchers have estimated that at least half of the racial disparities in cardiometabolic disease risk can be traced back to differences in sleep patterns of black and white Americans. Those are not my words. These are what the professionals are saying, okay? Sleep hygiene recommendations do not address underlying structural causes of disparities, she said. This young lady, last name Hill, right here. The real challenge is translating the science of what we know about sleep and its disparities into scalable, sustainable interventions. This is facts. Finally, we have one person who happens to be white who understands, that in the medical field, your research and science must be divided by the races. You can't just, all black people, you can't just feed us information and think that we could just break it down and decipher it and attribute that to us. Most of us can't do that. And you can see just from talking to people, you can see people in the comments, you can see people that you deal with in regular life. Some of us, and a lot of you people who are listening to this in the comments, we can get information from a white person, right? And when they tell us the information, we automatically in our brain translate that information, which may be good, to how we can use it for us or our people. Most of our people can't do that. You know what I'm saying? They'll say, okay, well, they said this is for people. Okay, they said grab this one here and do this, and I'm going to grab this one here and do that. They said grab this bottle and put it over there and put it down. That's what I'll do. Where one of us will say, okay, I get it. I see what it means. Let me grab this bottle, put it over there. I can't put it down yet because I can't put it down till 4 o'clock because that's when they do this. This is what we do. I get it. A lot of our people can't do that. So basically, what this lady is saying, what this professional is saying right here is you have to create sustainable interventions. You have to be able to scale this thing. You have to look at the disparities. You can't just be given information and expect, okay, well, that's just it. No. A black and white person, we're both human, but we are not the same. We are both created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We don't have the same experience, though. We come from different atmospheres, It's almost like comparing apples and oranges, cats and dogs, not calling anybody an apple or orange or a cat or a dog, but you get me, especially due to what America has done and created this thing called race, and they just love racism. So they created all these other obstacles, so it affects everything. It's crazy in the medical field. A lot of us don't get it. So this person named Lauren Hill, she's somebody who sat back. She was not lazy. She considered humans or people who have the ability to produce melanin and said, no, we got to look at this a little differently, Sister by the name of Natasha Williams, she's an associate professor of population health, and she focuses on behavioral sleep medicine at the New York University's Grossman School of Medicine. Okay, Natasha Williams. She said, despite the prevalence of common sleep challenges, the field of sleep medicine has really focused on clinical sleep disorders such as obstructive sleep apnea and insomnia. These medical conditions can be more clearly measured, diagnosed, and treated than everyday sleep issues. To be sure, there are also vast racial and socioeconomic disparities in the rates that these serious conditions are diagnosed and treated. But this all-encompassing factors focus often overlooks the millions of people, a disproportionate number of whom are black. We don't have a diagnosable sleep disorder, but whose chronic lack of restful sleep is putting them at higher risk for cardiometabolic disease and death. Thank you, Sister Natasha Williams. One of our peoples who went to school and use the information to convert that to being a black person, okay? Thank you. Somebody who actually went to school and didn't become dumber. She's clearly saying, this is what she's saying. She's saying all these sleep tests that they have out now, they are measurable, but that's basic cookie cutter, 1 + 1, 2 + 2 = 3 stuff, whatever, you know? But how can you measure the sleep patterns of someone who was black? You can't do ours like theirs. You know, first we have to deal with the system of white supremacy, whether we know it or not, whether we want to know it or not. You know, how do you measure somebody? How do you test or measure issues with somebody who can't sleep because they're not sleeping because they're poor or they're scared? You know, they scared their child might get shot. They scared their child got to work late, you know, at McDonald's and they got to walk home, you know, or catch the bus at 11 at night. You got crackheads outside singing. You worried that the new white boss is going to fire you just because you know they might be jealous of you, so you can't sleep. Or for the coons, you scared that you ran out of minstrel shows and coon tricks at work. Now you're going to lose your position to somebody else. That's stressful. All these factors play into the science when you are studying, you know, when you're looking into our people. So when you consider us being the people who have the ability to produce melanin, you have to change your studies. They have to change their studies and consider us, which is why either we can't listen to what they say, or we have to have the ability to take the information and convert it into, you know, being a black person. That's just the way it is. So she's saying, yeah, you could look at things like an obstruction in the windpipe, or you could look at sleep apnea and these problems, but that's normal. What about these other problems? How do you gauge that? You know? How do you look at that? So all these issues are stresses that cause lack of sleep, which are rooted in the religion of white supremacy. You know, it leads to cardiometabolic disease and death. All these issues, stress, it could be, you know, stressed at work because black people know we're going to get fired every day. You have black people who actually sometimes understanding things and knowing things, it could be harder on you when you know they can fire me today, they don't fire me tomorrow, whatever. You have people that go their whole careers with that on their head. You have people who have children out who have to catch a bus at 10:30, 11 at night, 1 in the morning. Parents are scared. They have a child who may be in jail. You have somebody who just got a license, you know. You have somebody who, you know, things are going on outside the house. You never know about these issues or the stresses that are in black people's heads. These problems are rooted in the religion of white supremacy. So you can't just look at us, do a regular test and say, okay, well, you need to sleep better. Here we have a sister by the name of Dana Johnson. Dana Johnson is the assistant professor of epidemiology who studies the origins of sleep, health disparities, and their impact on vascular disease at Emory University's Rollins School of Public Health. Dana Johnson says, regardless of the contributing factors to poor sleep, from lifestyle to comorbidities, the fundamental cause of sleep inequities is structural racism. Thank you, Sister Dana Johnson, another one of our people who went to school and got all the credentials and didn't get dumber. Dana Johnson, thank you. Somebody who knows how to use discernment, is a professional, as opposed to having a cookie cutter brain who can't think. She gets to the bottom line here. Let's stop all the nonsense, you know, let's cut out all the excess fat. Dana Johnson gets to the point. The root cause of sleep the root cause of
I'm gonna stop it right here. Cause I'm gonna another 5 minutes. I'm gonna speak. This can go to for anybody. But when you get for the black people out there, this is why you gotta go on vacation. this is why maybe if you can afford to leave the country, go on vacation, and so you get some much rest if you could afford to. One thing about it is, and I was thinking about this today, if you had a job and you have a dream of owning your own business, try to put some nickels to a side to start your own business. If you can't leave the country, start with your own business. Find out what are you good at that make you happy, and work at it from there. If you can make time, and that's the thing, is to be independent for yourself. The only way to break away from you might not be able to completely break away from the systematic racism, but even though we're in America, you can navigate and get around it, and you don't have to, and spend less time around people that had the outward racism and the subconscious racism. And the subconscious racism is what the woman mentioned earlier about black. Why does a black person, what they think they're better than me and blah blah blah. And I mean, to the point that it comes out, the jealousy turns into something different. So this is a solution that one thing I hopefully, and Dr. Claude Anderson was trying to do this, and if you notice in every other community in America, they work among themselves. One thing is too bad that some of us understand this, but some of us don't. In order, if you want to get away from it, but be among your own people and make an income among your own people, you have to respect your own people. We have to, if you own a business, you got to pay your people right, and just be fair. It's on both. It's twofold. Whether you're the business owner or the customer, and treat your people with high dignity and respect. And if you're a black person patronizing a black business or whatever, treat them with respect, because you see, you both have something in common. Whether you the business owner or whether you the black customer, you still in a systematic racism. Just because someone making money don't mean that they're rich because they're a business owner. They have to go through another level. They have to go through another trial. And like I was saying earlier about how they shut down black businesses in a place like Washington, D.C. So the next thing you do is maybe you have to look out international. Take your business, if you got a craft, take your business international. And that's, if you have a gift of, and deal with people that want to deal with you and respect you as a people. You don't have to be around these other people. I learned that personally. I was on a job back in 2021. I come to work every day. I was a driver for a pharmaceutical company. I came to work every day, came on time. I came early. Got along with the customers. Customers was the hospitals. And I had no problem. I never came to work with no attitude, no, doing my job, come home, do my job, and leave. And when I'm there, I'm just friendly, getting along with my workers, my co-workers. But when I was working overnight into the morning shift. So, and this guy started messing with me on the job. but he was a supervisor. That he was in a supervisor position. And how he started messing with me on the job was, I'm over there doing my job was to clean up the pegs so you can put the needles in, because it was for people who they take pictures in your heart, so they use this liquid and they shoot it up into a needle. So I had to clean out those canisters where the needle was. Now I'm sitting in there and I'm going at my own pace. He wants to ride my ass. And I'm like, I'm doing it the way, I'm being careful, I'm not being careless, anything about it. But when I seen this other young man did it, and he walked past, and he was doing the same thing I was doing, he didn't come up to him and kind of say, why are you doing it like that? He didn't mess with him like that, but he had to mess with me. And I'm like, dang, so, and then one time I made a mistake a couple times. Like, I was in a hospital where you have to take the one part of the one floor, and it's in the same hospital. It's not like it's in separate places. And I was always on time because I know that medication had to get in that place early morning so it could be diluted so when the patients come. The manager gave me a hard ass time and tried to talk to me crazy. He said, he made one mistake and said, James, he told me what the problem was. I said, okay, I'll do it again. But he tried to lay into me and try to say, and another thing, why are you taking so long? But this is in the wintertime, I'm going as fast as I can because they won't pay your tickets. So I'm being instructive as I can. And this is what I had to deal with. And I got injured on the job one day because I tripped over and I broke my toenail. My toenail started bleeding. I was the kind of person to go run to workers' comp. I just brushed it off. But after the way that man talked to me, they try to call me back and talk to me back like, no, you talk to me like a freaking, and then it was other people in that office. Just belittle me as a man. And I said, what? I ain't got to deal with this crap. I'm gone. I put in my 2-week notice. It practically was a week. It was practically a week. I'm like, this is my last week. I'm gone. I'm done. I told his assistant, because I was pissed at him. I was mad. I didn't want to talk to him. I came in, worked out that week because that the other manager didn't know, and she was kind of shocked. And because they know I've always, then they say, James, we never had no problems out of you, anything. I said, I know. But, I came on time. I did my job, made one or two little mistakes. But it was the way that man talked to me. And it hit my spirit. I said, something, you a king, you ain't got to deal with this crap. You ain't got to deal with it. And even though, it was some little money for a minute, it hurt a little money. That's why I advise you to work a job. But if you get like that, leave the doggone job. If they start talking to you like that, this can apply to anybody. But when it comes to us, they feel like it goes like they talking to you like we in 1865, and you just this Negro gonna do as I tell you mentality. And I'm not. I used to take stuff like that, and it would affect me. It started affecting me mentally. It started affecting with my health. And and sometimes, as people, black people, we have high blood pressure and hypertension. Not that other people don't, but we have it the most. And they throw this in our face. So my suggestion is basically work that job, invest in your money, and have a business going. And travel and vacation. Go get some rest. Because this is what they're trying to do. Don't let that job get to you. And if you got a business, even if you own a business, take a break. Take a break. If you feel like you get like that, take a break. Because sometimes it ain't worth you losing your health, and it's not worth you losing your mind. And so I'm in these last couple of years, I detached from things, and from the subconscious racist people and the indirect racist people. Because when they try to be slick with it and slide up with it, if I sense it, if I feel it, I just pull off. I don't say nothing. And I had to do that, even when I associate with mine. And sometimes black people, that's what you got to do. You don't have to explain nothing. When they say subconscious little innuendo things like that, throw little entities like that, and they try to hit you up here, break off from them. See, it's something that I never could do. And it's because maybe we've been Christian, and I don't want to use that terminology, but Christianized to try to, sometimes you just, even if you're Christianized, sometimes you got to break away from people like that. Break away from the racism. Indirect and subdirect come at you. So my solution is, you ain't got to deal with it. Take a vacation, go out the country if you can afford to, and just get a side business on the side and make your money. So if they come telling you fired, you got something to lay back on and give them the middle finger. You know what I mean? Give this my number one. Give them a number one. You know what I mean? But that's the best way. Save up enough money. But if you got a family, you got to do what you. But even if you got a family, still be working on having a side business. Because people will use that as a leverage. You got a family over you too. So I hope they don't want to make this video too long. But yeah, but subconscious and direct racism, look how it's affected as black people. Your credit is right, they stop you. You do this right, they stop you. And they're jealous at you. They don't want to do it, but they can't let you go. So stay quiet and exit. That's what you should do, whether you're a black man or a black woman. So if you like this video, till next time, take heed and rest. Take a rest and get some good sleep so you can heal up. Don't let white supremacy take you out. Mentally, physically, emotionally, or financially. Because it'll affect you spiritually. Take care.